we live. We in Denver, Colorado with the special guest, man, Jack Dean, aka Jack Frost, man. What's the word?
How's it going, bro?
It's going good. I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Absolutely. I appreciate you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, man, this is your first interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to do your first interview. First off, but go ahead and let's dive into your backstory a little bit. So, where are you originally born?
I was born in Indianapolis.
Okay. And were you raised out there as well?
So it's a little complicated. Whenever I was born, it was actually on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
And
okay.
My mom likes to say that I interrupted, Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Because she had to go to the hospital. My dad's still there trying to cut the turkey and shit. But we lived there probably my dad lived there for another 2 or 3 years. Then he moved out to another place. And I stayed there with my mom until I was maybe 8. And then we moved down to Texas.
Okay.
So, we bounced around a lot.
Okay. What was your relationship like with your parents? Would you say it was a pretty good relationship with both of them, or?
Definitely not. Especially growing up, you tend to have a lot of resentment for any kind of a fault or a lack of any emotional connection or stability in your life. You tend to blame that on existential things like your parents or God or whatever.
Right.
But I think as time goes on and you get more mature, I totally realized my parents did the best job they could have with the cards that they were dealt. I couldn't have done any better. It's just the luck of the draw, so I feel like with time your perspective begins to shift and you really begin to appreciate your parents a lot more.
Right.
But growing up, it was definitely a lot of resentment. I mean, my dad had left and my mom had an illness that hadn't been discovered at the time, so nobody knew what was wrong with her. So there's just a lot of pent up aggression and shit like that, and I think that's what kind of led me into wanting to rap, was being able to, hearing guys like Eminem express that shit really meant a lot to me and hit a note inside of me.
No, that's real. I'm glad you said that. I feel like I can relate in a way where, growing up, when you're really young, I feel like, at least for me, I was huge fans of my parents, right? But then you start to get older, go through tough times, and you're like, man, why is this happening the way it is? And like you say, you blame it on your parents, and then you get into your 20s and stuff, and you're like, man, this is the cards they were dealt. Like you said, you start to mature, and you're like, okay, who knows how long they're going to be here for. So
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's real. You have a pretty solid relationship with them to this day, or?
I'd say now I have a much better relationship. At the start of this year, my mom, she doesn't really have anybody else. She was actually in Texas, and I haven't lived in Texas since I was 18. So I moved her up. Now that I'm making a little bit more money, I moved her up from Texas to Colorado, so she lives 2 streets away from me. Anything she needs, I'm right there. So I'd say my relationship with her is rock solid. She definitely gives me a lot of support. She doesn't always understand what I'm doing and shit, but she always spreads love. My dad, he still works 80 hours a week, dude. He's 65 years old. He's been running a company that he started about 2 years prior to me being born. So for a long ass time, he's been grinding on this company, and he's still working on it 80 hours a day, So any time I get to spend with him is treasured. I really appreciate it. He's a wise guy. He's got a lot of insight to offer, but I feel like not having him in my life for so long really wanted me. I look at my mom now. She has a terrible relationship with her parents. Mom, I'm sorry if you're watching this. I don't mean to put you on blast, but, her and her parents don't even say I love you. You know what I mean? Anytime they talk, there's a lot of, they're throwing shade, there's resentment. I just don't want my life to be like that. Right. So I think I really tried to squash any resentment I had, and I really tried to honor, thy father and thy mother, like they say in the Bible. I adhere to all those rules, but that's definitely one that I think is really important, because I feel like there are people who had a much more tolerable life than me that feel a lot worse about their parents, and I just don't think that's justified,
Right.
I feel like historically your parents are supposed to be your heroes, and even if they're just average people, you should still view them as larger than life, and I feel like a lot of people just resent their parents and they repress all the values that they tried to pass down to them. So I feel like even though I didn't have my parents in my life for a very long period of time, maybe for just a couple of years, like I still inherited a lot of their values and like really took to heart a lot of the things that they tried to teach me even in that short amount of time.
Right, okay. What business is your dad in, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so he does implementation, which is like there's consulting, which is where a company comes in and says, hey, Mile High Minute, you're at 20K subscribers. Here's the steps you want to take to get to another 20K, right?
Right, okay.
And that's consulting. So what implementation is he'll come in and say, okay, if these are the steps that you need to take, my team is going to personally assist you in those steps until they're completed. And you don't pay us until we've gotten you those extra 20K. So like,
that's dope.
What's more valuable to you as a business, right? Like the steps that you need to get the next 20K or actually taking those steps to get the next 20K, right? So that's consulting versus implementation. And he runs the number one implementation firm in the world because it's like a brand new space that he's introducing. There's never been a company that's trying to do what he's done, but that's also why it's taken him half his life to fucking grind it out, you know?
Right.
But
it's unique.
Yeah.
That's dope to hear. Okay. Well, let's talk about your life growing up. So, originally from Indianapolis, sounds like you lived in Texas, kind of been all over. Where did you go to, like, middle school and high school and stuff like that?
So, I went there in Texas, in San Antonio, Texas, which, like, if you're looking at the U.S.-Mexico border, at the most southern point of Texas, San Antonio's, like, the first stop. Like the first major city you get to. So it's extremely Hispanic, you know. Probably in my classes, there was like over half Hispanic, you know. Over a third of the kids would all speak Spanish. So it's a miracle that I spent 10 years in Texas and I don't speak Spanish.
Did you learn any?
No, dude. If you drop me in Mexico. Yeah, bro, but I bullshitted all my classes. Like, if you put me in Mexico, bro, I'd be so f***ed. Like, I'd be so f***ed, bro.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're keeping it real.
Yeah.
So, you went to middle school and high school in San Antonio. What's San Antonio like?
So, it's... people who are from San Antonio are going to know what I mean when I say this, bro. It's ratchet. Like, you got... Okay, so, from Mexico, like, you cross the border illegally. The first place you stop at is San Antonio. So, like... 1/3 of every kid parents are illegal, bro. So like these kids, like I remember in third grade when I had just moved from Indianapolis to San Antonio, I was in elementary school and I'd always gone to private schools, but I was going through some turbulent shit. I got kicked out of the first private school that I got sent to here. So now we're in a public school for the first time. You know, like that line you wait in after school where all the buses grab the kids?
Right.
Bro, I had kids doing dice, shooting the shit, like cutting it up, talking about the pussy they're getting. I'm like, bro, you're 8 years old, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So like Indianapolis was just a completely different place. People are much more mild, bro. But Texas, like it was like there were no rules, bro. It's like the Wild West. Like it was really crazy. Like that was really what led to so much
shock.
Yeah, bro, culture shock, but also just like weed in Texas. Oh, bro, if you're not smoking, then you don't even like, you have no clue what's going on, right? But in Indianapolis, it was just not like that at all. People definitely developed at like a later age, like yeah.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, what is your opinion on, you know, like, since you grew up so close to the border, you know, people crossing the border, coming here for, like, more opportunity and stuff like that?
So it's pretty funny, right? A couple years ago when Trump was in office, he had the policy of whatever it was. It's not catch and release, right? Now it's catch and release. So I've got homies in San Antonio who call me and say, bro, half the cars on the highway, I can tell it's their first day here.
That's crazy.
Like, people are just pouring in, man. And it's honestly doing a lot of harm to the city because, you know, I've got love for everyone in the world. And there's no one more in favor of spreading the American, you know, way of life to everybody than me. But the way you go about doing that can't compromise life for everybody else. Like, it's not just a Texas issue. There's so many states that have tons of immigrants coming in, and I think all immigrants need a place to go that's going to be a lot more healthier than the place that they came from. Obviously, they wouldn't need to immigrate if there wasn't a need, but you can't deter people from wanting to live in the country itself. Like, I'm at the point, bro, we've watched America go so far down the drain in the past 20 years. Like, I have no longer any attachment to wanting to live here, live in Italy, live in China. Like, it just doesn't matter, bro. Like, I want to live wherever I'm not going to get nuked. That's like my number one thing at this point. And being in America doesn't give me a lot of confidence over that, bro. Like, if we can't even control our own borders and we've got so many problems coming in from other places, there's no time to deal with the problems that we already inherently have here, which is a much bigger deal to a lot of people than helping other people. Like when you're on an airplane and it's crashing, they say put on your own mask before helping kids and elderly people who can't put on their own mask. Do you know why?
Because, I mean, you got to save yourself first.
Well, bro, if you spend all your time trying to put on a mask on this guy, you're going to pass out, and you're the one that's going to die. So, like, you have to preserve yourself among other people, and I feel like America is so stretched out right now, especially, like, in their political ideology. Like, I don't think there's a single person, if you talk to anybody in the past month, who has told you, I love what America is doing right now. Please let me know. No, because I talk to a lot of people.
It's not as patriotic as it was when you were younger.
No, but the main reason why is because we're not. It doesn't just have to do with immigration, but with so many people coming in, bro. It's hard to have that pride and patriotism when most of the people aren't even actually American. You know, so it's like we're supposed to be like the great melting pot, but there's a big difference between being a melting pot of quality and a melting pot that just tastes like shit, you know? And I feel like we've strayed from that quality melting pot towards one that you don't even want to eat, bro, because it just tastes like shit.
That's real. Okay. That's raw and uncut, man. So getting back into your story, right? Like, how were you in school? I know you said you got kicked out of the private school one time. Were you getting like good grades and stuff? Were you playing sports? Like, how was your school life?
Not really, bro. Like, I'd say, so when I was super young, my dad left, and then when I was getting a little older, like 8, my family moved from Indianapolis and uprooted everything I'd known, everything I knew, bro, and took us to Texas. And the whole point was to be closer to my mom's, like her dad, her mom, her brothers. But no, she really thought that her family was going to help her.
So was your mom... Her family was originally from Texas, and your dad was from the Midwest? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He grew up in a small town in Indiana, and she grew up... Her dad was in the military. He was like a colonel, so he was always moving around. They lived in Canada for a few years. They lived in all these different places, but mainly in Texas. It's a big military state. So when she moved down there, that was kind of the reason why I'd always been fine in private schools, but then I kind of got triggered by, first of all, they put me on a lot of like antidepressants and like Vyvanse and all these other stimulants that really just had a negative effect on my like hormones and shit, bro. So I was getting really aggressive, like I was getting into fights and shit, but I was also just going through a lot. So it was like a mix of all those different combinations. Then I go to public school and I realized that the world is much more gray than the black and white, you know, pristine kind of cookie cutter world I'd been presented going to these private schools. Yeah, it really opened up my worldview, and I definitely don't think that I'd be half as good of a rapper if I went to private schools all the way through, because I really do think that it coordinates your experiences in a particular way, and that's not always healthy. Like, you need to be exposed to the girl in high school who gets pregnant too early, you know, and now nobody wants to talk to her. Like, you gotta watch that shit happen to where you're like, I better not get somebody pregnant, you know, too early, you know? Right. Like, if you're not seeing that, then it's so much easier to make those mistakes when you're faced with that challenge on the first time.
No, that's real. So basically you're saying, like, it's easier to kind of learn from other people's mistakes when, like, you're seeing more things in public schools.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than, like, going to private school and then, you know, everything's clean cut, you know, like you said, cookie cutter,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're into the real world and you're getting turned up, partying, but you can't control yourself because you're
Yeah.
not used to it, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a solid. I never really thought about it like that.
So, like, imagine this, right? Like, you have a friend who he gets arrested because he gets caught smoking weed and skipping class, and he decided when he got caught, okay, I'm just going to tell him the truth. I'm going to turn myself in, right? He thinks he's going to get a slap on the wrist. He gets 2 years in juvie. What are you going to do when you get caught smoking and skipping class? Are you just going to turn yourself in? Are you going to do the same shit? You just watch this motherfucker get 2 years in juvie.
Right.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other option is, but I'm going the other way because
Yeah.
I've seen what happens when you go that way. So, like, if you don't get to watch other people make the mistakes that you could have made, you're just going to prolong the amount of time it takes you to learn and grow and get to the point
That's right.
where you need to be in order to be who you are.
Right. No, that's real. And it's tough because it's like, you know, you're a lot of times, I mean, I guess it depends on everyone's parenting style, but I've had homies where their parents were very strict and like they were good parents.
They turn out to be the worst kids of all, huh?
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how it's crazy how it all works out.
Yeah.
But and then, you know, me, like, well, not necessarily just me, but some homies, like, your parents aren't there necessarily watching every step, but like you might mess up growing up, but then you almost mature faster and you kind of learn and you're like you almost grow like an older soul quicker because you already went through a lot
Exactly, bro. And like, as a person who has gone through like everything, bro, I love, especially like a girl who has been through nothing, bro. She wants to do everything. You know what I mean? Like, people crave experience, bro. And when you're not, like, especially as you get older, bro, that's when it becomes increasingly more apparent to you, like, what I haven't gone through and what I have, and how okay are you with all those things, you know? Because nobody wants to be 80 years old and live their life with a ton of regrets, right?
Right. No, that's real. Okay, so did you end up graduating high school, or?
Yeah, but only because my mom literally would not let me not. Like, I skipped school to the point where my junior year, the principal called me in and was like, do you want to graduate? And I was like, it looks like that's the plan. And he basically told me that I missed so much school that even if I'd made every possible class I missed up, it wouldn't be enough time until my graduation day to be able to make it all up. So he basically told me I was going to get held back an extra year in high school, which to me, I would have rather fucking died. So
especially at that time,
bro,
you're like,
absolutely not, bro.
Yeah.
So like, I ended up finding out about this alternative school. You know, you tell me some shit I maybe should not talk about. This is the insider scoop, bro, on how to get through high school. So my boy Jack, he found this school that's like, it was called Blessed Hope Academy, all right? It was my blessed hope, and here's why. You didn't have to go to the school. It was like an hour and a half away, out of town, in the middle of nowhere, in a trailer. There were 3 nuns that ran this trailer. I would show up, bro. I don't know if it was for the stupidest of the stupid, or if it was for, like, if it was just a front to bring drugs up through Mexico. Like, I don't know what it was, bro. But they would give you a 5-page packet that said Abraham Lincoln was blank, and you just have to write in president, and then they're like, you get 100. Great job, you're fucking smartest kid I've ever seen. So then
crazy.
It's like a couple pages of that, and then they'd have a blank test on the last page, which is just all the blanks that you just filled in. And by the way, they gave you 2 copies, one that had all the blanks written in and one that had them blank, so you just had to read, follow along, and then write it in. I was in 12th grade. This is how I graduated. Okay?
Crazy.
It's fucking ridiculous, but I'm so grateful. You know how I got extra credit? I had to quote a Bible verse whenever I walked in. So my homie and I would be in the car outside smoking blunts, holding the Bible verse in our head. We walk in, we get the test, we write down the Bible verse, immediately gone. Immediately gone. But that's extra credit, right? So then you just had to write in all the blanks that you already had the answers to, and all the answers to these things were already online anyway. So I could grab the packet, pull it up online, write in all the blanks, I just had to memorize the last page, go in and just recite the last page, and that was 110 right there. So I realized that I could have gotten into Harvard if I'd been going to that school my whole high school career. But because I went to a public school where my attendance was held against me, not doing homework was held against me, when they ask you some shit in English class, the answer I gave was never the right answer. That's a C right there. You know, it's all just bullshit, bro. Like, they're just training you to be a little monkey and just to swing from your little vines and never to climb to the top of the tree. Mm-hmm. So when I went to this other school, I actually graduated 1 year early, bro. So when I was 18, I had my own apartment. I had a job. I was making $5,000 a month. I was ordering drugs off the black market, bro, partying. Like, I ran the school, never even having gone to that school my senior year, bro. So, like, I definitely think that me taking that alternative route influenced the trajectory of my life. Because if I'd stayed at that school, I probably would have stayed in college. I probably would have not had the experience in sales that I have at this point. I probably would have gotten, like, most of my peers who are 24, bro, they're just now trying to get their first job, and they're making a quarter of the cash that I make. Mm-hmm. And it's because I've been grinding the whole time that they've been at school, bro. So, like, even if I don't ever make any money off rap, I can still afford to rap the rest of my life. Like, that's never going to be an issue for me because I'm actually resourceful enough to, like, provide for myself and hunt in order to eat. Whereas I feel like a lot of people just are so used to having, they're like a baby bird, bro. They're so used to having their parent come in and drop the food into their mouths that when they stop doing that, they never learn to fly and that they need to leave the nest. Like, you know how many girls I talk to, bro, that are 24, 25 years old, they still live with their parents?
Bro.
Like, bro.
Yeah.
I moved out when I wasn't even 18 yet. I had to get my parents' authorization in order to get an apartment when I was under 18. You know, but, like, I was out that bitch, bro. Like, when you're in a bad environment, bro, you'll do anything to get out, you know? Like, an animal that has its back to the wall will fight and fight and fight. Right. Whereas if shit's sweet for you, bro, I don't blame you for not wanting to leave the nest, bro. Right. You got everything you need right there, bro. You got a fridge, you got a bed, you got, you know, like, a total 5, but she'll fuck you, you know? So, like, you don't see the need to climb to the top of the tree, bro. Right. Like, I feel like that's the problem with so many people, you know?
No, that's facts. You said, like, do you felt like your back was against the wall in those moments?
Yeah, bro. I still feel like that.
No, that's facts. What were you, like, going through during that time? I guess that period from, you know, 18 to 20, let's say. Yeah. You know, leaving high school and, like what jobs were you working and things of that nature?
So, bro, I'd say a more interesting place to start as a precursor to what I went through when I was, like, 18 to 20, because that's a really interesting period. Mm-hmm. But prior to that, if we turn back, like, I know we just kind of talked about when I was, like, 8. So that was, like, my dad had left. We had just moved away to a new city, uprooted everything. I really didn't have any connection to anything I was around. So when I found rap, it was really, like, a way of connecting to something that was deeper and larger than myself.
But you still have a relationship with your dad, though? Like, you
guys but it's like on the down low, right? Yeah. Like, he can only call me when he's alone, like when he's got the time, and bro, he still works 80 hours. That's and he's crazy. Taking care of my brother, like, and he's got like he just got shit to do. So, like, and now that I'm grown, bro, it's really just more like making sure I'm okay, you know? It's not really like, you don't got to spend the same time with me that you got to spend with, like, my 14-year-old brother. Like, obviously he needs it more, but, like, it's also weird, bro, because, like, I look at how he grew up and he had everything, bro. Like, he has everything, and I had nothing, bro. But, like, I just wonder how it'll be whenever we actually meet. Like, how's he gonna match up to that? Because I can tell you right now, I'm a hard motherfucker, bro, because I went through it. Mm-hmm. Have you gone through it? Because shit seems pretty sweet from where I'm at, right? I've been watching your life, bro. Shit's been pretty sweet, right? So it's like, you got to be grateful for everything you went through, because those are the things that make you who you are. Like, I'd rather be the hardest guy on the block than be happier, or, like, just not know how hard life is, you know? Because you're going to find out, bro. Like, there's no one alive that's been on this planet for over half a century that cannot tell you for a fact life gets fucking hard, right? Like, that's just a fact of life. So, like, if you're expecting shit to be sweet, or, like, if your whole life you've grown up with no problems, like, bro, Imagine my perspective on life. At 13, someone tried to put me in prison, bro, for something I did not do. I thought the whole entire planet was out to get me after that, bro. Like,
Right,
how
yeah.
can you not feel that way? You know what I mean?
Did the charges end up getting dropped? Or?
Yeah, so it ended up getting expunged off my record when I was about 16 or 17. So there's no trace of it. Like, if you were to pull my file, you know, you wouldn't see any criminal activity or anything.
Okay.
But it fucking happened. I had to go through it.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, man, I'm sorry to hear that you went through all that shit.
Oh, and
That
the
sounds tough.
the other craziest shit, dude. The judge told me, so they expunged it off my record prior to me being at 18, which is unusual. Usually, you have to wait till you're 18 and show that you like haven't had any more instances before they expunge it off your record. Because usually it'll show you got charged, but it didn't they didn't convict you, right? They expunged it off my record, which means there's no trace of it. So they only do that if like you prove that you're a straight arrow, right? So they did that for me at 16 years old, and they said if you get arrested, if you have any trouble at school, like if you have any problems that we find out about, it's going back on your record, right? Imagine trying to get a high-level paying job with that shit on your record. Good
Right.
fucking luck, right?
Right.
The amount of times I almost got arrested between 16 and 18 years old, the period where I needed to be on the straight and narrow,
Yeah,
oh, bro, I couldn't even count them on two hands.
that's crazy.
So, like, I almost, like,
I feel like
unknowingly...
that's when we all fuck up a lot.
Bro,
Like, when you're in high
it
school,
totally is, bro.
Yeah.
It totally is. So, like,
Yeah.
I had to literally, like, get out of so much shit because if I got caught or if I did this or if I did that and they found out, that shit was going back on my fucking permanent record, bro. Like, that shit will haunt you until the day that you die.
Right. Yeah. Okay, man. Well, let's dive into the music then.
Yeah.
'Cause I know you briefly brought up like how you started rapping in high school a little bit. It sounded kind of like for fun at the time, right?
Yeah, dude, it was
And then-
100% just an escape because I couldn't pay attention in class, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, I might as well try to learn something, new,
Right. So what? Now you're here. You got projects out and whatnot. So like, what led into you taking it more serious? Was it like you said, working that job and I guess not being fulfilled with like your dreams and your passion and stuff like that, and that's what kind of led you into like taking music more serious, or?
I would say that purpose takes a ton of forms, and at the time that I got into sales, I found a purpose through that. Like, I was the fucking man at what I was doing, and that gave me a lot of purpose, right? But you have to learn, like, the greatest man in the room isn't somebody who has done all the right things. It's one person that has focused entirely on one thing, and they've said no to everything else. So I feel like my problem and what made me not commit to it as hard was always trying to prioritize other opportunities and I wasn't able to say no to what I had right there in front of me. Like, I could have made it at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, or now. Like, any age. And the only reason I haven't is because I haven't been able to say no and prioritize.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like last year, when I was working 100, 120 hours a week, I got so tired one day that when I was driving out into the mountains to go to a call, I was about 5 minutes away from this person's house where I was going to try to, get them to buy something. And I remember I kept, like, closing my eyes, coming back to, closing my eyes, coming back to. I kept really, like, pushing through it and just saying to myself, like, bro, don't fall asleep. You're 5 minutes away. You can do it. I had the windows down. I was blasting music, I was, like, slapping myself in the face, like, doing all this shit. And I just remember the pure, like, it's almost like ecstasy going through your body whenever the wheels had left the ground, bro. It was like I was sleeping, but you ever seen the movie Inception?
I might have. I don't know. I'm not a big movie guy. I'm more of a
So,
sports
bro,
guy.
in the movie, they like hijack people's dreams, right? And their rule is you can only stay in the dream a certain amount of time, and then in order to wake yourself up, you have to yank yourself out of the dream, and you do that by creating the sensation of, like, free falling,
Yeah.
right? So whenever you're falling through, gravity, you wake up like that, bro. So I was literally, the last thought I had was, you better not pass out at this wheel. You got 5 more minutes. And then I woke up as the car was just in free fall. The road had curved around a mountain like that, and I just kept going straight.
Damn.
So the car was literally just free falling, and I had this maybe 1 to 2 seconds of just pure falling, where pretty much the only thought in your mind is, I'm about to die. You know, because you can't see the cliff that you're going down. Mm-hmm. Your only thought is, it's going to be the worst case, right? So the car immediately like T-boned this like giant rock on the ground. So probably went down like about half a football field, T-boned this rock, and then started to domino all the way down the hill. And as the car was just dominoing down the hill, bro, like, you're just literally waiting for everything to go black, and there's only one thought. Like, you know how they say your life flashes before your eyes? That's bullshit, bro. My future did. My future flashed before my eyes. And a thought that can be really scary, like, when I need to motivate myself, all I gotta think about is, when I'm 45 years old, what life do I want to be in? Like, what life do I want to have? Like, on some reality shit, how do you want to go about your life? What do you want to be around you? What beliefs and practices do you want to have? All that was gone, right? There's no, oh, I can make it or I cannot make it. It was, you had your chance, you had all the talent in the world, and now you're about to die because you threw it all away. To me, that was like insulting and spitting in the face of God. God gives you all these talents. You can be the best rapper of your generation, and you died because you were too afraid to tell your boss that you're too tired to go make him money. Like, what would that $3,000 or $4,000 have changed my life? Right. It almost took my life away. And I was just, the car's going down the hill. It's just going down the hill, and I'm just waiting for the car to blow up or to stop moving and everything goes black, right? I'm just awaiting death. Life did not flash before my eyes. My future flashed before my eyes. So then the car just stops. Out of nowhere, bro. After like 2 minutes of dominoing down the hill. Like, Audi, sponsor me, bro, because you saved my life. Like, safe-ass cars, right? The car stops, and I'm still waiting for it to keep moving again or to blow up or some shit like that. And when I finally waited like 2 or 3 minutes, I realized, okay, the car's just still. I survived this somehow, right? I feel my face. I've got blood all over my face. I'm like, fuck, dude, because I don't even know like how bad it is. I don't know what part of the mountain I'm on, but I look up to where like I can see the street again, right? And I don't see anybody peering over. So that kind of told me, nobody saw you go off this bitch, bro. Like, yeah. You thought you were gonna die? Well, you got to get yourself out of this, or you're going to die just from hanging out in this car, bro, because nobody knows where you are. And I couldn't find my phone, so I couldn't call 911. Yeah. I had to literally kick the roof off the car, because the car was mangled, bro. I'll show you pictures after this. Like, It's on my Instagram, bro. It was fucking mangled. So, like, kicking open the roof, bro, climbing up, like, 300 to 400 feet up this fucking mountain, which is like an 80-degree angle, bro. Crazy angles. So, like, that's how I knew, bro. Like, they tried to get me to go to the hospital and shit. I was like, dude, I'm fine. And they're like, but how do you know you're fine? I'm like, because I climbed up this fucking mountain, bro. Like, car crashes, climb up the mountain. I flagged down this old guy to, like, call the cops for me. He thought I was trying to hustle him. He thought I was trying to take his bike or whatever. I'm like, bro, go look at my fucking car. So the whole time that this was happening, everybody thought I was joking when I say I drove off a cliff. They dramatically underestimated what was happening. But when they saw the car, their only thought was, how the fuck is this guy alive? And my only thought was, why the fuck am I alive right now? Yeah. Like, on every level, statistically, if you look at the physics, like, if you test drove that car off that cliff 100 times, that person dies 95 out of 100 times. So why am I still alive? And not only that, why am I unscathed? Right?
So you didn't have like a bruise or maybe little cuts or?
Oh, bro, I had one little, probably had a concussion, bro, because the pure like whiplash of going back and forth. Yeah. But I sold roof siding and windows at the time, so a piece of my roofing kit had actually flown from the back. to the front and hit me in the head. So that caused like a little bit of a cut, and that was actually the blood I felt, but a little bit of antibiotic on that after a few days, bro. I was perfectly fine.
Like broken bones?
Nah, bro, nothing. And I remember I was in the ambulance, right, whenever like all the people finally got there and shit, and he told me, all right, we're just gonna check your vitals. I know you had a little bit of a tumble, and I'm like, have you seen the car? And he's like, no, I haven't seen your car. Look, I understand you went off a little hill, and you know you're probably a little shaken up right now. And I'm like, all right, doc, I want you to check your fucking tone. I want you to go look at the car, and then I want you to come back and apologize. And he's like, we're just going to take the vitals. We're going to get you to the hospital. Everything's going to be okay. I'll go take a look at the car later. Right? He had this super condescending tone. When he saw the fucking car, came back, he apologized. He was like, oh my God, I don't know how the fuck you're alive. The fact that you're so calm and you're talking to me coherently, I don't understand. Like, are you sure you don't want to go to the hospital? And I'm like, no, because it's going to be a whole bunch of bitches like you trying to tell me what the fuck I just went through. Bro, I just climbed up. Not only did I climb up that mountain, but I went back down the mountain to grab my dab pen and my phone, bro. Because I couldn't find them. Like, all my shit was splayed out over the mountain, bro. The car completely broke apart. So, like, I'm waiting on the ambulance and shit. This old guy had just called the cops. I go back down the mountain, and he's literally like, don't go back down there. Don't go back down there. And I'm like, bro, I gotta go get my shit. So I went back down the mountain. I actually grabbed a kit from my roofing kit, because we didn't have a lot of them at the office, right? So I'm still thinking about the appointment I missed, right? I'm still thinking about trying to make this other guy's dream come true. So I carried this roofing kit up the fucking mountain, as well as my phone and my dab pen. And when I got back up, you know, everyone's like, dude, you need to go to the hospital. Dude, I just climbed up 2 fucking mountains. Like, you're gonna tell me I'm not okay right now? I just knew, bro. Like, that should have killed me. So the fact that I'm not dead, like, if there was anything wrong, I would already know. You know what I mean? Like, you ever just gone through some shit and you knew you were okay? Like, I don't need a doctor to tell me what's going on right now. I like you just know on like a spiritual level, bro. I knew I had just been spared by God. And after you go through that, bro, how can you not want to chase your dreams? Like, how can you not want to put everything you have into it after you literally almost lose your life and the entire possibility at a future, a family, a house, you know, a career, like everything, bro. There's nothing you want to do after that serves anybody else except for yourself, bro. Because, like, I've been trying to please other people for so long, and that's gotten me nowhere, bro. Like, it doesn't matter if you make $10 million in a year. If you're not doing it at the sole purpose of love, then it means absolutely nothing.
Right. No, that's a fucking crazy ass story. I've been in a couple of car accidents, near life incidents, but nothing like that. So this happened where it happened, like Golden?
Nah, bro, it was out towards Conifer.
Conifer, okay. That's kind of near Evergreen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you basically like fall down the mountain. Is there like news stories or anything like to go back to, or like so? Damn, it just kind of went. Does this like there was no like 9 News or like no?
But you know what's so funny? It took 2 tow trucks to like pull the car up the mountain.
Yeah.
The tow truck driver. So I'm about 100 meters away with one of my coworkers who came to get me. Right. I'm just hitting my dab pen. I'm on the hood of his car, and I see these guys towing up the car, and they're talking, right? And then I hear one of them go, "Holy shit, he's alive!" And then they point over to me, and I'm just like, "What's up, bro?" And he's like 100 meters away, and I just see him go, "No fucking way!" Like this guy sees accidents all the time. And when I actually went to get pictures of my car to show to my insurance, he was the one that walked me around the tow lot and said, that person died, that person died, that person died, that whole family died, that mom died and her 2 kids are paralyzed, that person died, these people died, and your car's the worst one here, and you're still alive. And
it's crazy how the universe works. Like,
bro, like,
you hear that? Did you ever hear that story about? I think it was a skater in like Detroit, the Ross. Ross, his last name like Capiccioni or something. I can't remember, but who's that rapper that did the song about it? Joyner Lucas. He like went to Detroit, got shot in the face, like with the shotgun, chest. Like he should have been dead multiple times, but he survived. Then some people get shot once and they're dead. Like, God. The universe works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, bro.
But well, I'm glad you're still here. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
What do you I know you said you're not really religious anymore, right? But you believe in God?
No, I'm super spiritual, dude. Like, after...
Yeah, kind of explain your relationship with God a little
Yeah,
bit.
man.
Like,
I would love to. So, after, you have a really tumultuous upbringing and you go through some near-death experiences, it, for sure, like, growing up, I always used to wonder why God would put me through such hard things. Like, I look around and nobody was going through anywhere close to what I was going through. And I always felt so disconnected from everything.
mm-hmm.
But now I'm able to look back and say, God did all these hard things, not to me, but for me. Because if I hadn't gone through them, like, I wouldn't be anyone like who I am today. Like, I beat to my own drum, bro. I'm never going to worry about what somebody else says.
Mm-hmm.
I have a good head on my shoulders. I can make my own choices. And the fact of the matter is, if I grew up the way my dad wanted me to grow up, I'd be the perfect little Boy Scout, and I'd probably be in school to getting my master's in business right now. And that'd be the end of it, bro. I never would have chased my dreams, or my dreams would be completely different. But I feel like being so disconnected from everything, rap and my connection with God are immediately intertwined, because I feel like God introduced me to rap as a way of being able to connect with a higher power, to connect more deeply with myself, and just connect with the world around me. It's a way of being intimate and being comfortable, when I feel like, due to the way I grew up, like, just being in a room with a bunch of people who are super happy, that shit makes me uncomfortable, bro. Like, I'm like, how the f*** are y'all so happy right now, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, what do y'all got to be smiling about?
Right.
So, me personally, like, if I grew up in that environment where shit was just all good all the time, bro, I wouldn't be able to, I feel like, strike chords within people who hear my music. Because I want people to listen to my music and feel like when they were going through the hardest shit in their life, like, I was right there with them. I know exactly what that's like, bro. Because you don't want to hear about the guy who had the best day ever. You want to hear about the guy who went through the hardest day ever and still lived to talk about it. And I feel like that's what I strive to do in my music, is inspire anybody who's going through some shit you feel like you can't handle. You feel like you're not good enough, you're not capable. You can deal with it. You just got to persevere through it, But if I didn't have rap and I didn't have that grounding, it'd be impossible to. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's nothing else equivalent in my life that I've ever even come across that I feel as connected to as music.
Right. Okay. So you got a new album, Stoic. The cover, like I told you before the interview, F My Ex's Life Up, that's a single on the album, right?
So it's not on the album, but I put that one out at the start of the year.
Okay, so that's a new single.
Yeah.
That cover is crazy.
Yeah? Yeah.
But how did the album Stoic come together? What made you choose that name? Obviously, Stoicism is, if people don't know, I've looked a little bit into it, but I feel like it's, from what I've gathered, it seems to be just like almost just kind of being neutral in life and not trying to get too high, get too low, and being able to like weather the storm and stuff like that. What made you come up with that album name and talk about the importance of Stoicism and things of that nature?
So 2022, end of July, that month in sales at my job, I was having the top month I've ever had, and then I got a little bit too brash and bold, and I made some enemies, and those enemies got me fired from a really high-paying job. And I thought, when I had gotten fired and I'm at my apartment, having worked 120-hour weeks for the past 2 years, I'm at my apartment and I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I didn't think I'd ever find an opportunity as good. I didn't know what to do with myself, but I did know I'm a savage, I'm a killer, and if I could transfer the way I feel to other people. Like it doesn't have to be through sales. I don't have to make them sign on the dotted line. It can be through music, bro. If I can make people feel the way I feel, and the way I feel is like I can go through anything, bro. I can run through a brick wall. It's not gonna faze me. And I think the word stoic to me, it does not mean that you don't experience the highs and the lows of life. It just means that to an outsider perspective, you're unfazed. Even though internally you still have all the waves and the oceans and the fights and the dramas and the perils of life, you're unfazed externally, and you're going to continue to do exactly what you plan to do. You know, to me, it's just about what a man should strive to be. And I feel like there's so much rap now that isn't trying to inspire men to be more manly.
That's real.
It's trying to brag about how much of a man you are,
right.
You know, but that's not helping every other kid out there. So I feel like if anybody hears this project and they get a little bit more swagger in their step, or they can puff their chest out a little bit more, and they feel like next time they're walking down a alley at night, bro, I want someone to try me. Like I'm prepared for that. That's what, to me, being stoic is all about, bro. It's not about like having an easier life or like not being phased with the highs and lows. It's just about remaining vigilant of your journey and your process, and like executing your plan and your vision regardless of what's going on around you, bro. So like there's actually a book called The Art of Not Giving Up that I love that book, bro.
I read part of it. Yeah.
It talks about the person who cares about everything, bro. They give too much of a fuck. They care about everything, bro. Me, I got that priority. Just rap. Just in there. I don't give a fuck about anything else right now. So I promise you, bro, like nothing else could happen that I give a remote, even a little bit of a fuck about. So when that's the case, bro, it's unreasonable to fail, because this is all you care about. I don't care about all this. All this stuff right here, gone to the wayside. I don't give a fuck about it. That's why a lot of people, I feel like, when they give me some really bad news, like I've had girls who try to break up with me or whatever, and they're like expecting me to like get super emotional and shit. And it's not that I don't have an emotional side. It's just that you're not my priority. Like you're not something I care deeply enough to be emotionally affected by. And I feel like if every man had that one thing that they're literally like, if I die but I've done this one thing, I'm good, you know?
Right.
You would get that thing done and the world would be a much more high functioning place. But instead you have guys who like that guy that you and I were just talking to, bro. He said, I've got this hustle, I've got that hustle, I've got this hustle, I've got that hustle. Choose one. And be willing to die to accomplish that one thing, right? I feel like stoic just means not caring about everything else because you care so much about the one thing that matters the absolute most.
That's real. I like how you end your... I can tell you're a salesman because the way you end your like statements, it's like you go really in depth, you hit hard, you bring energy, and then you wrap it, boom. Don't say anything else. Like,
bro, I be talking too much, bro.
Well, it takes people in, man. Real quick, shout out to sponsor today's video, man. 3am water, go get that hydration for the go-getters.
Hell yeah, bro. You gotta stay hydrated.
But, yeah, man. That's dope. Okay, so, talked about the album. It's out now, so links will be in the description. Make sure y'all go listen to that. But what are your goals? You know, I know you sounds like you got a lot of recording time here. You got some new music on the way. What are your goals within rap music? Do you like genuinely want to like be on the top Billboard charts, you know, touring the US? Do you just, you know, do you even care where it goes? Do you just love it so much that you're just happy with whatever comes with it? Like, what are your goals with the rap? Where do you see yourself for the next year or two? And how would you describe your sound and your message, I guess?
So I'll start with what my goals are. I think in the next 3 years I want to be one of the top artists on the planet. I want to have a worldwide tour. I'm talking like Taylor Swift shit, Ed Sheeran shit, you know, because I just feel like when you're, like I said, committed to one thing, it becomes unreasonable to fail. And I truly do feel like my ultimate goal is to be one of the best rappers. Like, if you ask 100 people in 20 years who their favorite rapper is, I want half of them people to say my name. And the reason I want them to say that is because my music has affected them and influenced them so deeply. Like, there are certain artists, like to me, when I first heard X, like, I remember I was never the same after that. Like, certain artists just change your perception of the world, bro.
Right.
And they really, like, they raise your level of consciousness. And I really want to do that, not just to be the number one rapper, but to genuinely help move humanity in the direction it needs to go to. Like, bro, we can't keep doing the same earthly shit that we've been doing. We need to get to, like, a more intergalactic scale, you know? If everybody was on the same wave that, like, Elon Musk was on, like, bro, cars would already be flying, bro. Like, the simple problem that I feel like there is, and more so, like, why my goal is to be so influential, is just because when you have a mind that has original thoughts, bro, like, anybody can rap, right? But not everybody has important things to say. And I feel like my perception on the world is a lot more complete and intricate than a lot of people. I feel like I care about a lot of issues that a lot of people don't really talk about or don't want to care about. And I also think that if you're not striving to be the best possible version of yourself, like, I don't ever want to meet a rapper who says, I don't care to see where this thing goes, you know? Every rapper should want to be Drake. Every singer should want to be Ed Sheeran, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you should want the absolute best for yourself. And regardless of if I do it or not, all that matters is that you execute your vision, like we just talked about, in what it means to be stoic, right? So if I can do all the proper steps, and at the end of the day, I own my own label, I'm signing, like, if I can get the best artist that you've ever heard signed, even if it's not me, bro, that's still my influence, you know what I mean? So I feel like I'll always have a presence in music. I have a deep love for, like, how it's made, the process behind the scenes. One huge goal of mine is to incorporate, like, a chain of studios all across America that are as close to free as possible. Because if you think about it, bro, like, I have 35 hours of studio time this week. That's $80 an hour, bro. What the hell is that? It's like $2,500, bro. You know what I mean? Who's got that kind of money? And that's for a week, bro. So, like, if you don't got that kind of bread to be spending every week, like, how can you expect to make it? You know? And I hear my engineer and my producers tell me all the time, bro, dudes come in here, they spend $800, they record half a song because they can't get anything down that they like. They don't have that focus, bro.
They're chilling, partying with the homies in here, you know.
You gotta prioritize, bro. Yeah. I never come in the studio with anybody else, bro. Like, I would love to have hot girls here, bro. I would love to have that here. But the fact is, that's gonna do nothing except for distract me, bro. Right. It's hard enough to get my team to work, bro. I don't have time to be wondering if I'm gonna work. Like, if you want some shit to happen, bro, you gotta make it happen. Like, no one else is gonna make your dreams come true except for you, and no one's ever gonna want it as bad or believe in it as much as you. Right? So I feel like, personally, I do want to be the number one artist, bro. Like, when I listen to Travis Scott's new album, fire, by the way, bro. It's one of those transformative albums. Like, you listen to it, and it genuinely increases your perception of humanity and the experiences that you're gonna take whenever you die. And, like, that's how I want my music to come across. And I feel like for a long time, a problem with my music, at least personally, was that it was more geared to help me than it was to help other people. Like, I was going through so much shit that if I didn't have a way to cope with it, I was going to go crazy, right? But now I feel like I'm chilling enough to where I don't really have anybody out to get me, bro. And if I do, I'm ready to go to war, dude. Like, I'm not afraid. So with that comes the freedom to just want to be able to influence you and just put the focus on making songs that resonate with other people.
What is one piece of advice you would give any artist who, to just kind of get out of their comfort zone and decide to just chase their dreams? You know what I'm saying? Because it sounds like you have a genuine passion for it. And then also, what made you fall in love with hip-hop? And name, like, 3 to 5 of your favorite rappers who you feel like inspired you, or, you know, things of that nature.
Eminem, Tupac, and Notorious B.I.G., dude.
Perfect.
And that's super easy to say in the list because my whole love for hip hop comes from anti-authoritarian. You have nothing and you have everything to gain. And I just feel like that story of coming from nothing and going to everything, bro, that rags to riches narrative is it's so deeply embedded in hip hop that if I lived that alternate life that we've been talking about, where my parents had never got divorced, my family never broke up, I went to business school, all that shit, I wouldn't be someone that I would want to listen to and rap, bro. Because when you have everything handed to you, it takes away from everything that you're trying to build yourself. And my message in rap is just to do more. And the advice I'd give to somebody who wants to go all in on chasing their dream is don't do it in order to make it. You need to do it and expect no positive reinforcement. That held me back for 5 years. Just waiting to make that song that makes other people say, wow, you're him.
Right,
it's never going to happen, bro.
Right, yeah.
Until you are literally him and you're just making another song, like, you're not going to have that experience. So if you're expecting other people to help you and push you along, you might not even want to start, bro. Because it's going to be long, it's going to be hard, it's going to be lonely. What you really need to do is make shit that you think is dope, because other people can only feel what you already feel. And if you're not feeling it, bro, that doesn't mean you're not made for it. Like, I have no musical talent in my body at all, bro. It's just 20,000 hours, dude. And when you do it because you love it and not because nobody else is telling you to, like, no one has to tell me to sit down and work on a song. I'm working on a song at 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm working on a song at 11 p.m. at night. I'm working on a song in the intermission of this interview. And it's just because you should strive to be productive. Productivity is health, bro. When you're productive, idle hands are going to do the devil's work. So if you're straight up concerned with what other people think and with making shit that other people find dope, you're just going to let yourself down because you're never going to have that aha moment. Whereas I feel like this shit I'm making now, I'm so deeply connected to, it's impossible for someone else to hear it and not feel that same connection, right? So that's just my advice, man. Don't do it for someone else. You got to do it for you. And you also got to be prepared to take 5 or 10 years in order to make it happen, because it's not going to happen overnight.
Right, okay. Where did the name Jack Frost come from?
I would say it came from trying to create something that was larger than life. I mean, you've all heard of Jack Frost as like a myth or like some kind of a story, but my goal with my artistry and with my life is to turn that larger than life character into someone that's real, who you can point to and say, well, I can't make that excuse, or I can't not do this or not do that because Jack Frost would obviously do it, right? And a lot of times when you're going through shit that's so insurmountable, you can't envision yourself overcoming it. You have to create the person who can. And that's just my attempt to create somebody who is strong enough to handle all the things that God's going to place on his back.
That's real. Okay. And we don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but is it tough rapping with like a speech impediment?
Oh yeah,
is that
dude.
What you would call it, or how do you get through it?
You know,
just to be straight up, like.
So it's actually pretty interesting. Whenever I rap, I don't ever stutter. And when I was born, if God had to make a choice and say, all right, this guy can either speak perfectly or he can rap perfectly, I'm glad he chose to be able to rap perfectly. Because a lot of artists can speak well, but when they go in that booth, it takes them 5 hours to make a song. I'll knock that bitch out in 20 minutes. You can stay here 20 minutes after this interview, I guarantee I have a song done. And I guarantee it's a fucking banger. But that's just because, like, it's like I said, bro, when you have everything against you, you're going to do whatever it takes to make it out. And I think that having a stutter has really taught me that it's not going to be perfect, but you have to still paint that picture the best you can, because the message is going to come across, but only if you put in the effort, right? Like, but that's an interesting question.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure like there's people out there, you know, who may deal with some similar stuff,
Yeah.
and they might find inspiration in it, you know.
Yeah,
what I'm
I've also just got huge balls, so
Yeah.
it helps a lot.
No, that's real. Okay, do you want to do a quick acapella freestyle? No beat.
Shit, bro, you gotta put something on, you know.
Put a little beat
What
on.
I think would be actually interesting, bro, is if so I know Nick's actually back there, bro. Like, I almost want to like show how quickly I can make like an actual song, because a lot of artists can freestyle something, and I can, but at the end of the day, like, I feel like it's a lot more impressive if I can make a full song in 2 or 3 minutes, whereas like, I don't know, bro, you gotta play something, you know. I can freestyle, I can write a song, it's whatever.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah,
you know
please do.
Yeah. Well, shit, man. This has been a legendary interview. Do you have any like final thoughts, any shout outs, last minute things you want to speak on?
Yeah, just let it be known, I'm Jack Frost. I got a lot of fat bands, like my name's Rick Ross. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna rap something.
Okay.
Name's Jack Frost. I got large bands, like my name's Rick Ross. I never really been one to sit down and floss, but I guarantee that the dentist still thinks I can get your shit tossed. I don't know, bro. It'd be pretty dope if we like put on a beat or something.
Yeah, no, I respect it for you for even trying, because most people don't even try.
No,
most
dude,
people wouldn't even try.
I could freestyle all day. I can take all your worries away. There's nothing you even have to say. You can just lay and take your head away. At the end of the day, I guarantee that you won't be empty when I fill your seat with a seed of something so supreme and elite. Most people dream, but they never really succeed. It's a hard knock life. At the end of the road, tell me what you want to see. I'd rather die than be obsolete. I'd rather put it all on the line and get some victory than ever live to see a day where I'm not complete.
That's real. I fuck with it, bro. That's dope. I can't believe you did it, because most people wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
I give you respect just for
that's
that.
the easy
I
part,
know
bro.
It's it'll obviously sound better with like a beat and everything, but well, shit, man. Where can people find you on Instagram, YouTube?
Yeah, bro.
Twitter, all
So
that, man?
Instagram, Jack Frizzy Frost, and you can find me on any streaming platform if you search Stoic Jack Frost.
All right, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Comment down below your favorite song by Jack Frost, and let us know who you want to see next in the Mile High Minute. But hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button to stay notified when all latest news drops. Again, make sure y'all go follow Jack Frost on everything, man. Links be in description. Make sure y'all follow Mile High Minute on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that, man. Links be in description. Mile High Minute, #1 blog in the universe. We out. Appreciate you.
Peace.